From Broman Field, welcome to tonight's broadcast of high school boys varsity lacrosse as the Blue Devils play host to the Cyclones. For the second time in 1 week, these two teams will meet. Last Monday night, they were at Cyclone Stadium, where the Eastern View won 15-11, and you just know the Blue Devils are looking to even that series for this season and break a 6-game losing streak here at home. I'm Mark O'Connell, joined as always by Jeff Say. Jeff, great to see you. We know what happened last Monday at Cyclone Stadium. Cyclones got off to a very good start, and the Blue Devils had to try to play catch-up. It was back and forth the next 3 quarters, but in the end, the Cyclones had too much for the Blue Devils to overcome. I think that's how they got the win.
Absolutely. That first quarter was the difference. You mentioned a 4-goal deficit, and that's what they led by at the end of the first quarter. We talked about Alex Garber, the face-off specialist for the Blue Devils, missing the last game due to a concussion. He's now back. I think that'll swing the difference for the Blue Devils.
Certainly not going to hurt them, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Let's catch up with both coaches and see what they have to say about tonight's game. In fact, we're going to meet the assistant coach for Eastern View, Chris Frazier, standing in for head coach Steve Spillman tonight. This should be a real treat. Joined now by Eastern View assistant coach Chris Frazier. Chris, great to see you. What a special treat this is to have you in our pregame show.
Oh yeah, good to see you. Good to see you.
Well, we've seen you in the past as a player, and we've seen you in recent years as a coach. We might see you more predominantly next year. We don't know. We don't want to jinx anything. But you're in for Coach Spielman tonight. How does that make you feel?
Feels good. I mean, not going to change too much tonight. Just kind of the guys are ready to go, and they know what they need to do tonight.
All right, I want to ask you, because this is the second meeting between these two teams this year, the second of 2 games. And last Monday you guys played. I thought it was that first quarter start that you guys had that really was probably the difference in the game. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Got off to a hot start in the first quarter. Kind of lulled out in the second a little bit, but the first quarter is definitely that showed the guys that they can play with the team and that they're ready to go.
Before I turn you over to Jeff Say, by the way, he's a Penguins fan, he was giving you a hard time about liking the Capitals. So I said, what did I say, Chris? I said, are you from Pittsburgh? No. You said, no, I'm from here. I said, well, then you can be a Capitals fan. All right, here's your Penguin guy going to fire at you right now.
Chris, I thought they played with a lot of emotion, more emotion I've seen out of them in recent times against Culpeper last week. Was that just a product of the public announcement that Coach Spielman was not going to be coming back at the end of the year and senior night? Or what was the impetus for that?
I think a lot of it was just a combination of all three. I mean, it's senior night, it's a home game. They honored Coach Spielman at halftime, and the fact that it's a Culpeper Eastern View game. I mean, I think everything going with that really got them going, and the fact that they were just ready to go from the season that we've had. They've shown that they can play against all these teams. Finally, just put a complete game together.
Obviously, Culpeper has seen your offensive sets. Are you changing anything tonight to give them some different looks after last week's game?
We watched film and changed a couple things around. There's nothing too much to change. I mean, we're right across town. They know who the guys are. They know who's playing. So we're just ready to go out and give it everything tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Chris, before you go, according to the schedule, this is Eastern View's last game of the regular season. Is that true?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So is there any indication where you guys might match up in the postseason as far as who your first-round opponent is, or is it too early to know?
From the way it looks right now, it might be Liberty. But anything can change from this game tonight to what Fauquier does, what Kettle Run does, what Liberty does. It'll all shake out towards the end of the week.
A lot of what-if scenarios, yeah. Right. Well, listen, good luck tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
And we'll see if we can't catch up with Coach Found next. All right, Coach Found, the Blue Devils joins us now. Coach, great to see you. And tonight represents the second time in a week that you guys have played the Cyclones. I felt like probably the difference in that game last week was probably the good first quarter start they got off to, because it was a 4-goal difference. And then you guys were sort of back and forth the last 3 quarters, but it seemed like it was just maybe too much ground to overcome. Is that how you saw it, or did you see it another way?
Yeah, I think that and missing our main face-off guy out with a concussion. He's back tonight. Unfortunately, we have another player missing. So, it's just been one of those seasons. And like I said in the last game, it doesn't matter what the records are, whether we're undefeated or vice versa. It's always going to be a game, and I think we took things a little lightly. And you got to love a rubber match.
Yeah.
On your home field.
Well,
So-
absolutely. But, you mentioned Alec Garber, and we talked about that quite a bit in the broadcast because just how critical that face-off position is. And you had, 3 different guys try their luck out there, and it just wasn't the same. Not that they didn't have the effort, but it's hard to replace a guy who specializes there.
It's the only sport that I know of that you don't have to ever touch the ball. I mean, make it take it all day long. As long as you have a good face-off guy and you score every time, the other team never has to touch the ball. So we're hoping to step that part of the game up tonight, along with some wing play. We've worked on our defense, and hopefully going to settle things down on offense with Alec back now. Good crease guy, and the crease is left open a lot. So we'll see how that turns out.
All right.
This is one of those years with all the changes. I'm not going to make any bets. I'm going to enjoy the game.
There you go. And you should.
I will.
Defensively, I didn't think you guys were as aggressive as you have been in the past. Is that something you guys addressed during practice leading up to this game?
We just don't have the numbers to go into a man-to-man unless we definitely have to. So, yeah, you're going to see a zone which looks less aggressive. It should be harder to beat. But anytime a team scores 11 goals, you should win a game. You shouldn't be letting somebody else score 15 goals, especially in the manner that they were scored. So, believe me, we worked on it. Let's just leave it at that.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, indeed. You have a good one.
All right, great to see you. Enjoy the game, Coach. All right, so we had a chance to speak to both coaches. Actually, Chris Frazier in for Steve Spielman tonight, but that was kind of a treat. We've seen Chris Frazier in recent years as a player, and it's great to see these guys go on to a coaching position and have some success and, have some fun along the way as well.
One of my favorite Chris Frazier stories is back his senior year when they were playing. They had the stick that they would give to the player who scored the most goals in the game. They named it Mojoneer after Thor's hammer. And I remember him getting a picture of him after one game with the stick held high yelling Mojoneer. And it made for a great story. It made for a great picture.
Similar to the axe of Thor?
Very similar to the axe of Thor. So
all right.
He was always a very quotable player, and I enjoy seeing him very knowledgeable. So it only makes sense that he's leaning towards coaching, and hopefully maybe he'll be the head coach of Eastern View next year. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
But certainly fun to see him continue his lacrosse career as an assistant coach here at Eastern View. I think tonight's game, Mark, is going to be an interesting one because you're obviously going to see some retribution by the Blue Devils as they look to come back and bounce back from that loss last week.
Jeff, I don't think there's any question that getting Alec Garber back is going to pay huge dividends for the Blue Devils tonight. Now, they may have another injured player, but I think you just can't replace that face-off specialist.
Absolutely, and we saw Eastern View dominate the face-offs last week. You mentioned 3 other players take face-offs for the Blue Devils, and they just were not effective. So having Garber back is going to maybe swing the momentum towards Culpeper.
Okay, looking forward to calling the game with you tonight, as always. We know tonight represents the last regular season game for the Cyclones. After tonight, the Blue Devils still have one more. That's Wednesday against Liberty. And then the 2 teams will get into the postseason where it's win and move on or lose and call it a season. We expect a very good game tonight. We certainly had one last Monday. We know it's going to be competitive. We hope you'll enjoy it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the opening face-off to get things started tonight here at Broman Field between the host Blue Devils and the visiting Cyclones. Stay tuned. You're watching the Culpeper Media Network.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. What do your clothes say about you? If they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with Triple Image. 829-1050.
From Broman Field, welcome to tonight's broadcast. And you're looking at the starting squads from both Eastern View and Culpeper as they get their pregame instructions from our officials. Hello everyone, I'm Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say and Johnny Krawchuk tonight. Behind the camera, we are at Broman Field, a renovated press box, and it has the smell of newness here, Jeff. Everything freshly painted, and the floor feels good. Got some cushion to it, and we're back at Broman Field. Last time we were here, we called a game in the stands, but now we're back where we belong, and the press box looks and feels good. Speaking of looking and feeling good, if you're the Blue Devils, you've got to like the fact that Alec Garber returns to that face-off position tonight. He was absent last Monday, and it certainly created a void for the Blue Devils as they sent 3 different players out there. Here's our first face-off to get things going tonight. Let's see who wins this one. Micah Young coming over, number 8, trying to get a handle, but it will go to Alec Garber. Jeff, welcome aboard. The Blue Devils start already off to a better start, going on offense here, first thing. And they take a shot, and they score. First shot taken on goal was taken by number 6, Connor Flynn. And Flynn scores for the Blue Devils, and what a different turn of events this is already for Culpeper, because last Monday night they couldn't win the face-offs, and Eastern View got off to a terrific first quarter start. Not that they don't respond here, but this is certainly a huge bonus for the Blue Devils at this point.
Well, Mark, at the pregame we talked about how big it was to have Alex Garber back at the face-off specialist for the Blue Devils, and you see why right there as he wins the face-off, and CCHS goes right down the field and scores just 11 seconds into the game. That is a much better start than what they had over at Cyclone Field last week.
And we've got a whistle. We have stoppage, and we're going to have possession awarded to the Blue Devils, who lead 1-0 here with 11:29 to play here in the first quarter. So in that first 30 seconds or less, Blue Devils scored, lead 1-0. Looking for a little revenge from last Monday's loss over at Cyclone Stadium, where the Cyclones won 15-11. Alec Garber sets up right in that semicircle there, takes a shot, and Garber has scored. It's 2-0. This is a terrific start for the Blue Devils, and totally different from what they were up against last Monday night.
Absolutely. Again, the face-off there ended up going to Eastern View, but that time they were able to get a turnover, and it was last game we saw the Culpeper was one with all the turnovers. Now we see Eastern View turn it over early, and it directly leads to a Culpeper goal. The Blue Devils are playing with that fire and passion here early on that we saw from the Cyclones in the first quarter, the last game.
Jacob Strauss, the face-off specialist for Eastern View, opposite Garber. Strauss saw 3 different face-off specialists last Monday night. He's going to see a lot of Garber, it looks like, tonight. Blue Devils won that one as well. In a settled situation here, they get it over to Garber again. He dumps it into the goal. A 3-0 lead. What a terrific start for the Blue Devils. They have scored 3 goals in 1 minute and 8 seconds. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. And so the Cyclones call a timeout to stem the tide. Well, we were talking to Coach Found, for example, in the pregame, and one of the things that he said that really stood out, so he was sort of wanted to sit back and enjoy this one.
It was, and he had a little bit of zen to him. I mean, normally we see Scott Found be extremely emotional and fired up, and this one, he said he was just looking forward to sitting back and enjoying. And these Blue Devils really are enjoying this quick start here tonight as they came out and have a 3-0 lead with 10:52 remaining in the first quarter, Mark.
So in 1 minute and 8 seconds, they've scored 3 goals, and this broadcast is made possible by Triple Image. Make your clothes speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image at 829-1050. Well, this is tonight's game between the Blue Devils and Cyclones is the regular season finale for Eastern View. Culpeper County will be playing its regular season finale on Wednesday here at home against Liberty. And after that, of course, we'll be into the postseason. And one thing about it is there seems to be several what-if scenarios. So neither team, Eastern View or Culpeper, knows who they're going to be playing in the postseason. But, of course, at this point, you're not even thinking about it. Both teams want to finish the regular season on a positive note. And right now, things are going in a very positive direction for the Blue Devils. Let's see what happens after the timeout. If the Cyclones make some sort of adjustment here and take away the momentum. Well, it starts with Jacob Strauss winning that face-off. Here comes Strauss. And they'll slow it down and work their offense for the first time here tonight. Does Eastern View.
We saw Strauss be so effective last week against the Blue Devils that he won, I think, all but 2 face-offs for Eastern View. But now having Alec Garber back has obviously nullified that for the Blue Devils. But the Cyclones' offense is really going to have to get on track here. We saw them go glove slide against Alex Davis quite a bit, and that led to 5 first-quarter goals the last game.
Eli Reeves lost it a moment ago. Cody Howard retrieved it, and now the Cyclones slow things down again to reset. On the move and weaving through traffic, unable to score, was number 14, Blair Neal. He had a good game last Monday. This time the Blue Devils rose to the occasion. The Cyclones keep it, trailing 3-0 here with 9:50 to play in the first quarter. On the wraparound, and the shot was wide of the mark. Cyclones run it down. They'll keep possession.
Well, I wasn't sure if that was a shot or they were trying to get a pass to the player there cutting across. I think that was Blair Neal coming across in the crease, and they were trying to get the ball to him, but a good play defensively by the Blue Devils to break that one up. And they're playing, as we talked about in the pregame, a little bit more aggressively here early on.
This was a shot that the Blue Devils are now going to take possession of after that shot. And one thing about it is Eastern View has not scored, but in this last flurry of action, they did press the issue some. And now the ball is heaved downfield. Let's see who can run it down. It's going to go out of bounds, and it's going to go back over to the Cyclones. This is Trayvon Holmes trying to get a handle. He doesn't, and the Blue Devils coming the other way with number 23, Elijah Nelson. There's Nelson on the move. Trying to get it to his teammate there, number 16, Reese Reynolds. Reese Reynolds is one of those players who saw some time at the face-off position last Monday night. Now the Blue Devils settled here. Will look for an opening as they work their offense. And Daquan Williams is number 2. Here he is on the move. Reversing his direction, taking a shot, and I believe that Devin Reed was able to get a piece of that and deflect it away from goal, but the Blue Devils will keep it. 8:28 to play. Now the clock continues to tick. 8:20 and counting here in the first quarter. 3-0 Blue Devils. Here's Williams.
One of the keys to the Culpeper's offense is getting the Williams brothers, Daquan and Shaim, in a rhythm. And we've seen them really take over a game against James Monroe. But the past few games, they've kind of been taken out of the equation. They need to be able to get back into the rhythm of things.
Here's Nelson. We watched him weave through traffic. There's a nice pass over the middle. This shot taken by number 16, Reese Reynolds, was wide. Running it down, Daquan Williams. Under 8 minutes to play here in the first quarter at Broman Field. It's Blue Devils 3, Cyclones nothing so far.
And we've seen we've seen the Blue Devils work the middle of the field mark a little more. We've seen a couple goals already come from there, and that was a nice play by Reese Reynolds to be able to get that shot off just a little high and wide.
Elijah Nelson goes into that X area. Comes back out of it, back up top to Tristan Mullen. Not the best pass he's ever delivered, but Mullen is able to run it down.
And Mark, does it seem like the Blue Devils are playing a little more calm tonight, not as frenzied as they were against the Cyclones a week ago, and that way they're making better decisions?
Here's Elijah. Well, I think you're probably right, but I think a big part of that is getting possession off that face-off and scoring. And really, Eastern View hasn't put together a, would you say, strong offensive thrust. that's really challenged the Blue Devil goalie and defenders yet, like they did that first quarter last week. Here is Williams making a move, taking a shot. This one is played out near the goal, and Elijah Nelson comes away with it once more. And this is probably one of the biggest differences, Jeff, these second and third opportunities for the Blue Devils. This one off the shin and a bounce shot taken by Reese Reynolds, and that just had way too much on it. It goes over the net, and looks like it's going to be Cyclone ball.
Well, really, the time of possession in favor of Culpeper is the biggest difference that we've seen here, because in the last game, Eastern View dominated the time of possession in the first quarter, and now this time it's in favor of the Blue Devils.
And here you have Mason Fife making a play on defense to try to get the ball back to the Blue Devils. Went out of bounds. Eastern View will have possession here. Here's some substitutions as we approach the midway mark of this first quarter here at Broman Field. 3-0 our score in favor of Culpeper. Eastern View keeps it here. Now they go on offense. Long range shot taken, and Alex Davis able to get the stick on it. Keeps it outside of that net. But the Cyclones keep possession. Here is Kyle Nicholson on the move.
And you see the Blue Devils switching there to a little bit of a man defense. They've been in a zone, but it's a little bit of a hybrid as you see Mason Fife come up to challenge. And it's kind of a man zone they're playing right now. Nice save.
Yeah, very nice save made by Alex Davis. But he wasn't able to stop that one. Number 14, Blair Neal, scores for the Cyclones. Puts Eastern View on the scoreboard. It's 3-1 in favor of the Blue Devils with 5:16 to play. Well, Alex Davis turned away that first shot on the rebound. Neal was able to take possession, put it back for the Cyclones. They're on the board, Jeff, 3-1.
Well, that's nearly 5 minutes between goals, or more than 5 minutes between goals, Mark. And that's a testament to Eastern View's defense being able to weather some storms there from the Blue Devils. And that was just a nice goal there by Blair Neal. And the Blue Devils had done a good job up until that point of being able to take away a clear shot. And then Neal was able to get the ball back in possession and be able to fire a quick one off.
And Jacob Strauss won the faceoff, and a moment ago he lost it. Ball came out. Now he takes the hit. Oh, we got our first penalty flag thrown tonight. This is going to work against the Blue Devils. Let's see who the guilty party is.
It looks like Garber coming to the sidelines, and he had his hands up like, wait, who, me? But he got caught. I think that's going to be a slash.
Slashing, yeah. And so we have our first power play opportunity, and it's going to be for Eastern View as they're in a man-up situation. 4:55 to play in the first quarter. Eastern View here with an opportunity to cut into that lead and make it a one-goal game. This is Neal. Winding up, taking a shot. Nice save by Alex Davis. He corralled that one. Turns back the Cyclone threat, at least for the moment. When he walks it up a little bit, he'll look for some help. No, he heaves it downfield to Elijah Nelson. That's a good guy to connect with there. Here's Nelson.
And Mark, it's been fun watching Alex Davis grow. We saw him get his first start against JM here at Culpeper in the last game we called here at Culpeper, and really have watched him progress, and he's grown with a lot of confidence. But his skill set has really shown. He's a big guy in net. He's able to cover a lot of ground there, but he's really shown a lot of hand-eye coordination the past few games, and I've been really impressed with his play.
Well, both teams back to full strength. The 30-second penalty against Garber. Here comes Mullen on the run. And Devin Reed able to deflect that one away from goal. Got a piece of it. Under 4 minutes to play here in the first quarter. 3-1 our score in favor of the Blue Devils. Here's a defensive play made by Connor Flynn. Jars the ball loose, and Daquan Williams currently in possession. And he gets it down here to Nathaniel Pettyjohn.
Pettyjohn had a goal in the last game, but I was about to say that Daquan they're adjusting his helmet. He took a stick shot to the helmet, a stick check, and inadvertently came up and hit him in the head. No penalty called, but he had to readjust as he was looking to make the pass.
Here's Elijah Nelson in the X, coming around, looking for a teammate there in front, and he tried to get it to Hunter Flynn.
One thing I'm noticing, Mark, is the Blue Devils don't have anybody back in that X position, so every time they have an errant shot go over the net, they're losing possession.
And you've got to figure that if you've made that observation, certainly Coach Found has made it. We'll see if they make that adjustment. We got a whistle. We'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Found & Sons, investing in youth at all levels to help make tomorrow's leaders. Found & Sons at 825-3530. And looks like we're going to have a player going to the – now, is this another slashing call? I think so. It may be against Daquan Williams. There he is, number 2. So Daquan Williams in the penalty box. And the second power play opportunity for the Cyclones. They were turned back that last time.
That was a good kill by the Blue Devils to be able to get rid of the Garber penalty, but now here they're right back on it. Less than 2 minutes, they're back on another penalty kill. So it's a strain on the defense, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Here's Cody Howard. Cyclones keep it. Daquan Williams in the penalty box. Eastern View trying to convert here. Nicholson winding up. And he scores. Davis couldn't catch up with that one as Nicholson beats him. And it's a 3-2 ball game with 2:25 to play here in the first quarter. Well, they took advantage of that power play, no doubt. And it's a 1-goal game.
I'm going to be interested to see if head coach Scott Found takes a timeout here shortly to get his team back in a little bit of a rhythm. They were up 3-0. They've given up 2 goals here late in the first quarter, but they just have not been able to put the ball in the goal, Mark. I mean, they've been having opportunities and certainly having opportunities at the face-off position.
Okay, and the award possession here to the Blue Devils as a penalty flag flies in. I think he said something about misconduct. It is a misconduct.
That's against Jacob Strauss,
yeah.
face-off specialist for the Cyclones.
And 30 seconds in the sin bin. Right?
Yeah, 30 seconds in the sin bin. So this is the first power play for the Blue Devils.
And it comes with 2:24 to play in the first quarter. 3-2 in favor of Culpeper. They had a 3-0 lead. The Cyclones have cut into that. And now the Blue Devils with an opportunity here. Let's see if they can take advantage. They spread it out. They look for an opening. Here's Elijah Nelson in the X. Over here to Tristan Mullen. He took a shot, and this hit someone's shoulder. I think the goalie's shoulder to stop that one.
It was off of Reed or there was a defender. I think there was a defender in front of him that it might have bounced off because it went wildly out of play.
Still a man up. Are the Blue Devils. Tristan Mullen over to, now they're back to full strength. Jacob Strauss on the field, back on the field for Eastern View. Here's Tristan Mullen. His shot didn't make it to the goalie, but the Blue Devils keep it down to 1:30 and counting here in the first quarter.
The Blue Devils have been able to pick up those rebounds. That was something they weren't getting a lot against the Cyclones the last game. Reed was either able to snuff them in and hold on to them, or they were going out of play. This time they're getting the juicy rebounds.
And over the middle, Alec Garber took the shot, and Devin Reed makes the save. You're right. And with those rebounds, of course, that translates into what? Second and third shot opportunities for a team.
And the Blue Devils are going to the bounce shot a lot here tonight, too. It must be something they saw from the last game or they've seen on film that Reed struggles with the bounce shot, because that's certainly something they've added to the arsenal this second meeting.
Mullen doing a lot of stick work here. Daquan Williams trying to get a handle, and he does.
I don't know how he kept that one in play.
40 seconds and counting here in the first quarter to play. 3-2 our score, Blue Devils. We're at Broman Field. Last game of the regular season for the Cyclones. The Blue Devils have one more. It's Wednesday at home against Liberty. Elijah Nelson lost it. And the two teams will fight for possession. Let's see who can come up with it. Got a little pushing going on. Ball goes out of bounds.
It's going to be turnover in favor of the Blue Devils. He stepped out of bounds.
Final seconds, down to 10 here in this first quarter, ticking off. Can they get a shot off? No, because the Cyclones come away with a turnover and they heave it downfield. And then another shot downfield. This one would have counted had it gone, but it didn't have enough on it to fake out Devin Reed, who makes the save to end the quarter. We've played one here at Broman Field, where our score is Blue Devils 3, Cyclones 2. We'll take a quick break and come back for the start of the second quarter right after this.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams, and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. What do your clothes say about you? If they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with Triple Image, 829-1050.
Welcome back to our broadcast and to the start of the second quarter here at Broman Field, where the two teams will switch directions. But Jacob Strauss of Eastern View and Alec Garber of the Blue Devils back for another face-off, this one to start the new quarter. After the first quarter, our score, Blue Devils 3, Cyclones 2. I'm Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say. Johnny Krawczyk with you tonight from Broman Field. Now, we were just talking at the break that quite a contrast for the Blue Devils tonight compared to last Monday's output in that first quarter action, where last Monday at Cyclone Stadium, Eastern View outscored Culpeper 5-1. Here in the first quarter, Blue Devils outscored the Cyclones 3-2. So, will that be a major difference? We'll have to wait and see how things play out, of course. But if you're the Blue Devils, you certainly have to count that as a gain.
You've certainly got to account some of that to Alex Garber being back for the Blue Devils and be able to win those face-offs, because that, especially those first 3 goals for the Blue Devils, there are only 3 goals, they were able to get a fast break due to those face-off wins. But also defensively, Culpeper has played a little more aggressively and a little more physical. I feel as though they've certainly taken the ball away from the Cyclones a little more, forced some turnovers, forced some poor decisions.
And a moment ago, Devin Reed made an early second quarter save. And the Blue Devils will have it here early in the second quarter. Tristan Mullen currently actually over to Williams, and they're trying to get it down to Reese Reynolds, number 16. Reynolds back pedals out of there, and Tristan Mullen flips it over to Elijah Nelson.
Conversely, Mark, I feel like the Cyclones have been doing a good job of pressuring on the forecheck and trying to make the Blue Devils turn it over. And we saw, I do believe that was number 11, Jordan O'Brien on D, come out and challenge Elijah Nelson. And we've seen the Cyclones defense do that a little bit more here tonight, be a little more aggressive, Not sure if that's by strategy or just because we have assistant coach Chris Frazier in calling the shots tonight, and he's being a little more aggressive.
Elijah Nelson and the Blue Devils keep it here after the whistle. Another whistle. And this may be a warding off call against Nelson, and they turn it over to the Cyclones. So they'll come back the other way. Well, 9:48 to play here in the second quarter. We are at Broman Field, where the Blue Devils currently up by 1 goal, 3-2, over their crosstown rival Cyclones, who just turned it over, and they'll give it back to the Blue Devils. Well, you know, this broadcast is made possible by Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. Battlefield Automotive at 547-3673. So Elijah Nelson restarts this Blue Devil offense. We're about 3 minutes into the quarter. Neither team has scored here in the second. It was 3-2 Blue Devils at the end of the first. Here's Williams on the wraparound. He lost it as he was trying to unload a shot there. Alec Garber goes to the turf as the two teams give chase. And restarting it will be Nathaniel Pettyjohn for the Blue Devils. Now he'll flip it over to Daquan Williams. And they'll spread it out again, and they'll work that offense. Here's Tristan Mullen, number 3, being defended by Tanner Roca. Nice pass down to Garber, and Garber sort of flips it in low, and he beats Devin Reed to make it 4-2. Blue Devils with 8:51 to play here in the second. How'd you see that one, Jeff? I thought that was nicely done.
Well, Mark, let's take another look at that one. And that play starts with Garber making a spin move, getting some space, and being able to get off a side pass over to Garber, who was in the middle. And Garber was part of the equation missing in that last game. They didn't have that tank in the middle of the field to really occupy that space and take away some opportunities for the Blue Devils. And right there, you see Garber be able to put that one away past Devin Reed with a nice shot.
Well, I think you're exactly right. It was that double dimension that you get with Garber. When you get the face-off, then you get him set up in that position on offense where, as you pointed out, they certainly missed him last Monday night. Now, this game is 4-2 right now. We got a timeout on the field. We'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by CFC Farm and Home Center, outfitting your family from head to toe since 1932. CFC Farm and Home Center at 825-2200. While we have a break in the action, let's talk about these two teams. Eastonview comes into tonight's game with a record of 3 wins against 7 losses, and tonight's game ends the regular season. The Blue Devils 4-7, but they haven't won for a while, Jeff, and they're currently on a 6-game losing skid. So a win tonight not only would be a shot in the arm for them to beat Eastonview, but also break that losing skid as well. Give them a little momentum going into Wednesday's game against Liberty, which is 5-5 on the year. So they're not exactly having Liberty's certainly having a better year than what we've seen in the last couple, and they're going to be definitely a reputable opponent up there.
Well, the Blue Devils were hot early on. When we saw them, they were 4-1. They had wins against Stafford, JM,
Brook Point,
and another win against JM. We saw both the JM games, and we were impressed with the Blue Devils. They looked strong offensively. And then they played Loudoun Valley, and after that, everything kind of fell apart for Culpeper. But now we see them here tonight playing the type of Blue Devil lacrosse that we're accustomed to see them playing.
Well, I looked at the Lax Power results, and, you know, you look at across the state, some of the teams that are having some great seasons. I think one of the only unbeaten teams right now is EC Glass. They were last year's runner-up in 4A. They're 12-0. There's some awfully good teams in the mix. Some of them are 6A. Some are 4A. The defending 5A champion is Patrick Henry of Roanoke. The defending 4A champion is Riverside of Loudoun County. And the defending 6A champion is Woodson. And all those teams are having good seasons again this year. Here's Mullen. That shot hits the post. Ricochets out of there, and Elijah Nelson will run it down.
Well, Mullen's having a good game. He was the one that started the play that led to the goal by Garber, and Mullen had the spin move that set up the space. But right there you see a wild shot just ricochet off Devin Reed, and Reed has made some big saves here tonight. I think Johnny K would probably agree that's been a little bit Holtby-esque.
Here's Elijah Nelson's first shot, and Devin Reed makes a nice save for Eastern View. Cyclones coming back the other way. Trayvon Holmes gets it up to his teammate there, number 15, Stefan Sanchez. And now the Cyclones in position, and Cody Howard, we hear from him as he beats Alex Davis. It's a 4-3 game with 7:30 to play in the second quarter.
Well, he had been quiet up until now. It was only a matter of time before we heard from Cody Howard.
4-3 our score with 7:30 to play in the second quarter. Well, we figured we'd be in for an entertaining close game. So far, that's exactly what we have. Alec Garber, Jacob Strauss, yet another face-off.
And Mark, that goal started down at the other end when Devin Reed made that big save and kicked it out. And the Cyclones were able to get possession and then get on a fast break going back down. And we were able to get it to Cody Howard, and that's what they need to do. They need to be able to get Howard the ball in space.
Well, eventually Alec Garber came away with this, and although it looked like Jacob Strauss might have the advantage and the ball was loose, Garber entered the mix, took possession, and he and his teammates here will set up their offense. That includes Elijah Nelson and now Tristan Mullen, number 3. Mullen a couple fakes. They slow it down with Elijah Nelson. 6:50 to play in the second quarter. Our score 4-3 in favor of the Blue Devils, who will end the regular season Wednesday night at home against Liberty. Here's Williams. Lost it in traffic. Looks like he's going to get it back. And now he'll look for help. And this will be intercepted. Here's a turnover. Back to the Cyclones if they can hold on to it. Here is Holmes trying to come up with it. He runs into traffic. He eventually loses it, but coming away with it is Avery Seitz, number 22. Avery Seitz. He's picked off by number 24. Make that 34, Riley Harrison. And here's Elijah Nelson once more.
And Harrison is pretty much a fresh face. We saw him called up a couple games ago, and that's a big play right there to be able to pick that one off.
Elijah Nelson tried to take it, and unassisted, got the shot. It was wide. Blue Devils keep possession here. 5:45 to play here in the second quarter. 4-3 ball game in favor of the Blue Devils. So here is Elijah Nelson. And number 9, Nathaniel Pettyjohn, being defended there by Jordan O'Brien. Now we got movement, we got pushing, we got players on the ground. And Eastern View ball. Coming away with it there is number 14, Blair Neal. And now the Cyclones will slow it down and work for a shot. On the turnaround shot, that was taken by Cameron Devaney. This one got away from him, but the Cyclone teammate there on the backup, they bring it back in. Cyclones keep it. They go back to work. A goal here will tie the ball game.
Cyclones' offense has certainly looked better here in the second quarter compared to the first. They seem to be more confident, a little more patient looking for their shots.
This is Cody Howard, and he can do some damage. Watch Howard here. He's in traffic. Got it off to his teammate, Mason Fife, in pursuit. Here's the shot taken. This one bounces high of the mark. Cyclones run it down.
Those bounce shots just have not found their mark tonight. They're going every which way. I don't know if it's just the way they're hitting the grass. I mean, the field is in great condition here tonight, but those bounce shots are just going awry.
All right, here's Cody Howard going to work, getting close to that goal. He lost it for a moment. He got it back.
That was tried to get a shot off, and it was over his back, but it was close range, and I think Davis was able to deflect that one, but then Davis wasn't able to get the ball back.
And here's where the action get a little hot and heavy, but coming away with it was number 18, Connor McEwen. They lost it again. We got a whistle.
And we've got an injured Blue Devil trying to hobble off the field. It's one of the long stick defensemen. I didn't see his number there. There's another penalty. I'm going to guess that that's going to be conduct on Eastern View. There was a little bit of chippiness there as Blair Neal was walking off the field. We'll wait for the call.
And the athletic trainer, Henry Wolf, will attend. It's Connor McEwen, number 18, isn't it? Yeah. Senior defender. Taking a knee, and he's talking to Henry Wolf. And now Coach Found will come out. Why don't we take a break? And we'll come back when the action resumes. Stay tuned. Well, back at Broman Field, Connor McEwen was the injured Blue Devil player being assisted off the field by his coach and athletic trainer there, and we understand there were 2 penalties. One was for an illegal check, another for misconduct. So in the penalty box, we had number 14, Blair Neal, and one other player.
I thought it was number 21, Ronta Robinson. I thought he was called for the illegal check, but he is not in the penalty box at the moment. That looks like the other player is going to be
Jacob Strauss.
Jacob Strauss. But it looks
maybe not.
Maybe not. It looks like it's just Blair Neal. He might be serving both penalties.
So it is just Neal. And it's a power play opportunity for the Blue Devils. 3:25, clock ticking, second quarter action. Culpeper on top, 4-3. An opportunity here to try to capitalize in a man-up situation. Coming around the net was number 9, Nathaniel Pettyjohn, trying to sneak it in, unable to do so. Turned it over. They heave it downfield. Anybody's ball. Mason Fife comes away with it for the Blue Devils, at least for the moment. He lost it. And now Nicholson has it. And the 2 teams now struggle for it. Cyclones keep it, at least for the moment. Here's Cody Howard trying to get a handle on it. Ball flips out of there. Now let's see who can actually come up with it cleanly here. It's hard to hold on to it. But the Cyclones eventually do, and they turn around taking a shot by Cody Howard. And he finds the net, and it's a tied ball game, 4-4. And we haven't had a tie since we started this one, Jeff, at 0-0. And now the Cyclones have tied it up. And not only did they tie it up, they did it with a man down.
I was just about to say that was a shorthanded goal by the Cyclones. There was a lot of battle for the ground ball right there, and I think that really led to that goal for the Cyclones. They were able to get the turnover, they were able to clear it, and then they were able to win the ground ball and finally get it to Cody Howard, who was able to score the equalizer.
Well said. What a huge turn of events for the Cyclones, who were down a man. You said a shorthanded goal. Instead of giving up a goal on a power play to the Blue Devils, they scored a goal. So I really came away with a real nice thing there as they take a shot, and this time Alex Davis up for the challenge. I think Easternby maybe got something unexpected. On the other hand, it seemed to me like in that ground ball situation, it was a real determined effort by Easternby to get a handle on it and eventually come away with it.
Sir, that was a great effort right there by the Cyclones. I thought the Blue Devils were going to have an opportunity after that shot by Nathaniel Pettyjohn, but they've been able to have rebounds, but they haven't had anybody in front of the goal to be able to capitalize, and that was another opportunity. Pettyjohn had the shot. There was a rebound by Reed, and then the Cyclones were able to get the clear, and then eventually, about a minute later, win the ground ball.
Both teams back to full strength here. We're tied up 4-all with 1:30 to play in the second quarter. The shot was wide. It was taken by Tristan Mullen. Daquan Williams inbounds it for the Blue Devils. And here's Connor Flynn. And they'll slow it down with Elijah Nelson. Minute 15 and counting, second quarter. Here's Nelson backing out of there, and he gets it over to Tristan Mullen. Mullen gets past one defender. Logan Colbert is number 10, being defended there by number 11, Jordan O'Brien. Daquan Williams now in possession.
And Colbert had a good game against the Cyclones the last time, but we saw him take up that space in the middle that we've seen Garber occupy here tonight.
Elijah Nelson being defended by Matthew Hockman. Here's Nelson on the move. And he ran into a player as he unleashed a shot. He's okay. He went to the turf, and the shot was wide. And the Cyclones closest to it. And they're going to come away with it here. Heaving it downfield across the midfield stripe. Let's see who can come up with it. Connor McEwen had a chance. Mason Fife now gets an opportunity. The ball is still loose. Let's see who can come up with it. Blue Devils in good position there as Elijah Torres in on the play. Timeout on the field. We'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Virginia Community Bank. When you bank with us, you can bank on us. That's Virginia Community Bank. Banking for life at 829-6034. We're down to what? 13.9 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Clock stopped, the timeout. 4-4 our score. What were you thinking, Jeff, coming into this? If someone were to say to you before the start of the game, when we approached that end of the first half mark, where do you think the two teams would be? Where did you sort of think that they would be at this point?
I'm pretty close to 4-4. I mean, I was thinking maybe 5-5, 6-5. I expected another tight game between these two teams. I think they're both pretty evenly matched. We've seen them play, pretty clean lacrosse, and the last game it was just all about momentum for the Cyclones in the first half. Now, we saw the Blue Devils jump out to that early lead, but they weren't able to maintain it. We saw the Cyclones be able to come back, battle back into it by playing a little bit grittier, winning those ground balls, starting to win some face-offs, especially early on. Alex Garber dominated the face-offs for the Blue Devils. Now we've seen Jacob Strauss be able to get the Cyclones back into it a little bit more, Mark. So I would say, yeah, this is just about where I thought they would be at halftime.
Possibly foreshadowing of things to come in the second half, meaning likely some closely contested quarters and a close game with the outcome 50-50 both teams. So it's 4-4. After the timeout, we have 13.9 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Eastern View has possession. They'll start things with Blair Neal, number 14, on the whistle. Here he comes. His pass gets over the head of his intended receiver, Eli Reeves, and Connor Flynn takes possession. And here is Daquan Williams. He won't get a shot off before the siren sounds to signal the end of the quarter. We have played 2 quarters here at Broman Field. Our score, we're tied up 4 apiece, and the two teams head to the intermission. We'll take a break and come back when the third quarter resumes. You're watching Blue Devils and Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. What do your clothes say about you? If they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with Triple Image. 829-1050.
Well, back at Broman Field, we are set to begin the third quarter, and that means a face-off. Alec Garber of the Blue Devils opposite Jacob Strauss of the Cyclones. And as we start this third quarter, we're tied up 4 goals apiece. Mark O'Connell alongside Jeff Say and Johnny Krawchuk with you tonight on behalf of the Culpeper Media Network. And if the second half is anything like the first half, it ought to come down to maybe a 1-goal difference between these two teams tonight, Jeff.
Absolutely. It's been a tight contest here. We've seen Eastern View answer Culpeper going up 3-0 early on, and the Cyclones have been able to come back and tie it. It's been ground balls, face-offs, and defense. That is what we've seen here tonight. Offense has been at a premium.
Couple turnovers, both teams to start this third quarter. Let's see who can settle down and take control. Right now, Alec Garber getting it up to Daquan Williams. Here is Williams. In a little traffic, bounces away from it. Connor Flynn currently has possession. He'll flip it to Elijah Nelson. So you wonder at the halftime, we always think about adjustments, that sort of thing. Here's Tristan Mullen coming off the screen, back pedals out, and here's Elijah Nelson now. Will Elijah Nelson take more of a lead for the Blue Devils here in the second half? He was relatively quiet in the first. Mullen splits the defense, takes a shot well wide of the cage, but Daquan Williams is there to run it down for the Blue Devils.
Well, that's one of the solutions I have for the Blue Devils, is to have somebody back in the next position to be able to get the possession of the ball after the Blue Devils take the shot. The other suggestion is to have more shots in the middle, because Devin Reed has had trouble defending against those. And we've seen Alex Garber be effective from the middle, maybe get also Logan Colbert involved in that process in the middle, maybe have more guys cutting and trying to get some shots off, point blank range against Devin Reed.
Mullen, a little footwork. He takes the shot on the run, and he beats Devin Reed to give the Blue Devils the lead 5-4 with 10:13 to play in the third quarter. So the first goal of this third quarter comes a minute and 47 seconds into it.
And that was a shot from the middle, though Tristan Mullen's momentum was carrying him towards the right-hand side of the goal. His shot came back towards the middle, a sidearm left-handed shot past Devin Reed with a little less than 2 minutes into the quarter. The Blue Devils are able to retake the lead here against the Cyclones.
Back to the face-off here in just a moment. This broadcast is made possible by Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Jacob Strauss of Eastern View, Alec Garber of the Blue Devils have met several times tonight from the face-off position, and coming away with it, at least for the moment, was Eli Reeves. But a whistle and stoppage. The officials rule possession to the Blue Devils, and they come back this way. Substitutions on the fly as Elijah Nelson working past the defender. And thinking about it again, reversing his direction before he flips it off to Tristan Mullen, who a moment ago had given the Blue Devils a lead. It's 5-4 here in the third quarter. Mullen again. Fake to his teammate is a fake pass, and he took a shot. It was well conceived, but Reed was there. And this time, Alec Garber on the putback scores for the Blue Devils. So early on here in the quarter, 2.5 minutes in, Jeff, the Blue Devils have scored twice What do you think? What do you observe? What are they doing right here early on in the third?
Well, that goal was created by defense because they were able to forecheck and take that ball away from the Cyclones. Cyclone defenseman had possession of it. They forced a turnover. It bounced right into Garber's stick, and he was able to get off that shot and get the goal. So defense created that one. Turnover created that goal. But they're certainly being a little more proactive here early in the third quarter. We saw Tristan Mullins score as he was going towards the middle of the field. That goal was, again, point blank, down by Devin Reed right in front of him. So the Blue Devils are forcing the issue and getting in the crease and trying to make something happen.
Jacob Strauss getting a rest. He's sitting on the bench. Ronta Robinson handled the face-off duties a moment ago. Cyclones come away with it, looking to tie here. I'm sorry, looking to cut it within one goal. It was 4-4 at the start of the third quarter. The Blue Devils have scored twice here in the third. Cyclones have yet to answer. Got a long way to go here. Plenty of time for both teams. And Kyle Nicholson runs it down for Eastern View. And out to Cody Howard. Connor McEwen comes out to mark up against him. Here's Howard. He got away from McEwen. A nice feed down low to a cutting Spencer Brown, and then Brown was able to beat Alex Davis there in that point-blank range area, and we're down to one goal again. It's 6-5 Blue Devils, and so the Cyclones have answered, Jeff, at least to some extent there.
And Cody Howard made that goal happen. You mentioned Connor McEwen marking up on him, and Howard was able to get the edge on McEwen, and that opened up a lane to be able to pass the ball to Brown, who was streaking around the net in a little wraparound, and he was able to beat Alex Davis one-on-one. But Howard getting that edge against McEwen made that play happen.
Jacob Strauss returned to the face-off duties. Cyclones take possession of another one. Here is Spencer Brown. Jacob Strauss. Blair Neal, defended by Julio Forloins. This shot was wide. The goalies for both teams, for Culpeper, it's Alex Davis. For Eastern View, Devin Reed. Winding up, taking a shot. And this one by Cody Howard went to the ground, and in that bounce, found its way to the net. I didn't think it had a lot of smoke behind it, but Alex Davis unable to get a beat on it and track it down. It was tied up 6-all.
It took a weird bounce there, Mark. It was right, and I thought Davis had it squared up. He saw it coming in, and then it bounced in front, and it came up over his stick. He was looking to make the save, and that bounce made the difference for Cody Howard. Again, Cody Howard involved in the offense and leading the goals for the Cyclones.
And a new face-off man for the Blue Devils. It's Reese Reynolds in place of Alec Garber. And Jacob Strauss going to win this one, and Eli Reeves, rather, will bring it down. And they'll reset here. Or set their offense as we're tied up. 7:45 to play in the third quarter. Clock is moving. If you're just joining us, the Blue Devils outscored the Cyclones 3-2 in the first quarter. Cyclones outscored the Blue Devils 2-1 in the second. We went to the intermission tied up 4-all. Here is a save by Alex Davis. Keeps the tie in place for now as Elijah Nelson comes back the other way for the Blue Devils. And this one got away from Culpeper. They're going to turn it over to Eastern View.
And Scott Found asking Elijah Nelson, what were you doing right there? And Nelson's like, I saw an opening, but he missed the pass down to, I do believe, that was number 10. That was Logan Colbert he was looking to get the pass off to, but it was just errant, and that led to the turnover.
Cyclones trying to come back the other way. Blair Neal fighting for it. Micah Young out there for the Blue Devils contesting it. He did take possession, and they get it down to number 10, Logan Colbert, at least for the moment. They slow it down. 6-6 our score. 6:35 to play here in the third quarter. Elijah Nelson. Tristan Mullen out there for the Blue Devils. Avery Seitz defending against Elijah Nelson.
Mark, you mentioned about the Blue Devils slowing it down, and that's when the Blue Devils are their best, or when they're able to set up their offense and be able to get into their sets. The Cyclones seem to be able to score better when there's a little bit of chaos and things are going a little bit awry, and there's a lot of moving bodies.
Hey, there's Elijah Nelson on the move. He put that one on the ground. That one didn't look like it had a whole lot on it. Maybe it was deceptive from here. But Nelson scores his first goal tonight, and he gives the Blue Devils the lead once more. It's 7-6 with 6:09 to play. And just like Alex Davis a moment ago, Devin Reed couldn't catch up with this one.
Again, the bounce was just strange off the grass, and that one went right over Devin Reed's shoulder. Those bounce shots are making the difference here tonight.
So, when you make a bounce shot, you don't know how that ball may bounce coming up off that turf, do you?
And certainly not, but that time you saw the Blue Devils had players behind the net in possession, ready to go get possession if it went awry. But that time, Elijah Nelson just had enough spin on that ball that went into the net. But you're right, there wasn't a lot of mustard on that one. It wasn't particularly fast. It was just a well-placed shot.
Here's Tristan Mullen thinking about it. Less than 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter. 7-6 in favor of the Blue Devils. We were tied up at the intermission 4-all. Raekwon Williams, Logan Colbert, Tristan Mullen out there for the Blue Devils, Elijah Nelson, Alec Garber, and Tristan Mullen winds up center, right there in the center of the field, and he beats Devin Reed, and it's a 2-goal game again in favor of the Blue Devils with 5:35 to play. And Jeff, Tristan Mullen, I believe that's his second goal of the night.
I was just double-checking that. That is Mullen's second goal of the night, second here in the third quarter. And again, the Blue Devils setting up their offense, and you see them going to the middle of the field, and that's where Mullen scored that one. There is a weakness there with Devin Reed. He has trouble seeing the ball coming in from that middle position, and Tristan Mullen with a left-handed shot being able to sling it right past him.
And here is Jacob Strauss and Alec Garber going around in circles trying to get some advantage. Micah Young comes over for the Blue Devils, and here comes Eastern View. Jacob Strauss finally coming away with it. He ran into some traffic as he tried to unload the shot. Coming away with it is Cody Howard in a pump fake, and he made Davis commit, and then he beat him one-on-one there. Back to a 1-goal game, 8-7 in favor of the Blue Devils. Cody Howard has brought the Cyclones back to within one.
23 seconds after the Culpepper goal, Eastern View answers, and that was a beautiful pump fake right there by Cody Howard, just enough to make Alex Davis commit, and then Howard was able to get it past him.
Back to the face-off, and our regulars, Alec Garber, Jacob Strauss, 5:12 to play, third quarter, 8-7 Culpeper. And Reese Reynolds close to it, but Alec Garber will collect it. Blair Neal playing defense. Garber eventually losing it as Neal forces a turnover. Now Elijah Nelson comes out to defend against him. Mason Fife in there. Spencer Brown of Eastern View. Blair Neal comes away with it. Now Elijah Nelson jars a stick loose from Blair Neal, but the Cyclones keep it.
Well, that turnover by the Cyclones started because the Blue Devils were having trouble getting a change, and they couldn't get Elijah Nelson on quick enough to give some help on offense.
And right when the Blue Devils looked to have the turnover, they did not bring it in, and Kyle Nicholson came away with it. He goes back up to the top. Elijah Nelson greets him, knocks it loose. Nelson then between two defenders there, comes away with it. And now we have a whistle. And it looks like a timeout taken by Culpeper with 3:58 to play. And we'll take one as well and come back when the two teams are ready to go at it once more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our broadcast. After the timeout, we have 3 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Blue Devils had called a timeout. They lead 8-7, and they will go on offense as we resume action here late in the third. And this means right now Tristan Mullen. Blue Devils currently up by 1 goal, 8-7.
Certainly been a fun game, hasn't it, Mark? I mean, it's been back and forth.
Yeah, and Tristan Mullen came around. Oh, and this one's going to trickle into the goal. After Mullen's shot, I think Devin Reed just couldn't find it, and it trickled in past his feet as he was looking for it.
I wasn't sure if Alec Garber had maybe gotten a stick on it as well and shoved it in because Garber was right in front. But I don't know who's going to get the credit for that goal. Is it Garber or is it who had the original shot?
Was it Mullen?
Well, it was Mullen or Garber. I'm not sure who's going to get the goal on that.
I'm not sure either because I wasn't sure if a second Blue Devil had actually made the touch to finish it and have it enough roll for the ball to go in the goal, or if after that first shot, Devin Reed simply couldn't find it and it trickled past his feet.
I'm not sure. Like I said, Garber was down there. He was battling for it as well, but I don't know if he actually got a stick on it or if that was from Mullen's original shot that had just trickled past Reed because Reed couldn't get a read on it. And we're going to have a penalty here against the Blue Devils, and it's going to be number 9, Nathaniel Pettyjohn, in the penalty box. So it'll be a power play situation for the Cyclones, Mark.
With 3:27 to play in the third quarter, and the Cyclones down by 2 goals, and an opportunity here to cut into that lead once more.
And they've already scored on a power play here tonight. I think it's been 3 power plays for the Cyclones, 2 for the Blue Devils. And the Blue Devils have a power play goal here as well.
Here's Cameron Devaney winding up. High of the mark. Cyclones retrieve it. They stay on offense. In the power play, Cody Howard got it down low. Coming over, making the defensive play there was Shane Carter, freshman defender. Cody Howard, however, will keep possession, and the Cyclones threatening here.
And Carter and Mason Fife have been a good duo.
Wow. And Howard winded up, and this sort of underarm-handed shot there really got past the defender, and I think the defender sort of screened the view of, or impeded the view, rather, distracted the view of the goalie, and Davis couldn't catch up with it, and that was a sidearm shot by Cody Howard. He comes up big for them.
I was just singing the praises there of the defensive duo of Mason Fife and Shane Carter, and I think it was Fife who actually shielded the view of Alex Davis. He didn't see that sidearm shot coming in, and it rolled into the net. A goal for Cody Howard to cut the lead to 9-8 with 2:52 remaining. And Mark, these two teams are not going to go down without a fight.
In these 3 quarters, depending on how this one ends, could end like the first 2 where it was a 1-goal difference by one team or the other.
Well, at halftime it was a tie ball game. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly been back and forth, and neither team wants to go down. You saw the last game, I really felt like the Cyclones played with a lot of emotion, more than we've seen from them in the past. And here tonight, I feel like the Blue Devils are playing a better technical game.
Well, the Blue Devils had the advantage in the first quarter. They led 3-2. But the Cyclones had the advantage in the second quarter. They outscored the Blue Devils 2-1, so it was 4-4 at the intermission. Here in the third quarter, it's 9-8. So a little bit of advantage right now for Culpeper, but Cody Howard and company can change that rather quickly.
Good defensive play right there by
18
Connor McEwen for the Blue Devils to be able to momentarily take it away from Cody Howard. Howard was able to get possession back, but he certainly had a beat on the goal, and that was a good play by McEwen to jar the ball loose.
This sort of reminds me, here comes Elijah Nelson comes over in the double team to try to force the turnover. And we just, Connor McEwen going to the penalty box for 1 minute for a slashing call.
And I think they just had that last other penalty that I think did lead to the goal, so that was a power play goal the last goal by the Cyclones. I don't think that penalty had expired when Cody Howard scored that goal, so now they're on the power play again, looking to tie it up.
They restart the clock, 1:40 to play in the third quarter. 9-8 our score. Alex Davis that time was in position. The ball got away and went out of bounds, and the Cyclones will be bringing it in courtesy of Kyle Nicholson. And now they get it out to Cody Howard. And Cameron Devaney got into traffic and lost it. And now the Blue Devils will have it as they try to kill the penalty.
No, that was a wild shot by Devaney. It was a good play by Cody Howard to find Devaney in the middle of the field. But Devaney's shot was knocked wide. And the Blue Devils, good hustle to be able to get back to get possession. They have to be able to try to kill this one off.
Logan Colbert on the move for the Blue Devils, and defending Jordan O'Brien. Tristan Mullen now approaching the 1 minute mark here in the third. Blue Devils clinging to a 1-goal lead. It's 9-8. And now Connor Flynn controlling. Back up to Elijah Nelson. Here comes Alec Garber back into the field of play. And you think you've got a pretty good idea where he's going to camp, don't you?
Yeah, and they just killed off the penalty, so now the Blue Devils are back to full strength with about 30 seconds remaining here in the third quarter mark. I wonder if they're going to try to hang on to this one and play for the last shot.
Bronta Robinson defending against Elijah Nelson on the move here. And taking the shot was Logan Colbert. And there for the putback, Alec Garber. Just like that. After they kill the penalty, Garber comes in, off the rebound, scores.
Garber doing the dirty work down there, really looking to pick it out like Patrick Hornquist for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He gets down there in front, and he's just able to knock that one past Devin Reed. That shot, I don't know where it came from, but it went off a defender. Don't think even made all the way through to Reed, but still Garber was able to get it and shuffle it past the Cyclone goaltender.
All right, but I was at a disadvantage because you used a hockey player's name, and see, I wasn't ready for that. Now, if you'd used a basketball player and said he was doing the dirty work and he needs a pair of glasses like Dirty Kurt, you know, Kurt Rambis, the Dirty Kurt. Yeah, I would have got that one, but not as nowhere near as well versed in hockey. But here are the Blue Devils with some momentum there at the end of the third quarter, which has expired, and they lead 10-8. As we'll take a break and get ready for the fourth. The injured player there on the ground for Eastern View, number 14, Blair Neal, but he's on his feet. Let's take a quick break and come back. The two teams are ready to start this fourth quarter. Stay tuned.
Not everyone is an HVAC expert. Luckily, with 20 years of experience, Able Heating and Air can answer any and all questions you may have about your system. Peace of mind and knowledge that you made the right choice because they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. CFC Farm and Home Center, hometown service since 1932. Finding the right outerwear for the job is difficult. Luckily, you'll find Carhartt clothing, Red Wing, and Irish Setter boots. From head to toe, it's easy to outfit with CFC Farm and Home Center. Found in Sons Funeral Chapels has made it their business to provide solutions during difficult times for over a quarter of a century. During that time, they've also made an investment in our youth through football, basketball, softball, baseball, lacrosse, skateboarding, and 4-H, among other projects. Good luck to tonight's teams, and do your best. Every lifelong relationship starts with day one. At Virginia Community Bank, we'll talk about how you can bank with us for life. With 40-plus years of experience in Culpeper and beyond, it's our privilege to help clients achieve their goals, short-term, long-term, and everywhere in between. Bank with us anytime. Bank with us for a lifetime. Battlefield Automotive is proud to continue support of our high school youth and the Culpeper community. Winner of the prestigious Ford President's Award for a record 13 consecutive years. Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. What do your clothes say about you? If they were screen printed or embroidered at Triple Image, they speak volumes. Originality, professionalism, experience. Your clothes can speak volumes with Triple Image, 829-1050.
All right, welcome back to our broadcast. We are at Broman Field, set to start the fourth quarter of high school boys varsity lacrosse, the matchup between our crosstown rivals, the Cyclones of Eastern View and the Blue Devils of Culpeper County. And as we start the fourth, with no one in the penalty box, that'll be the standard face-off to start it, and that'll be Jacob Strauss of Eastern View opposite Alec Garber. These two guys have met many times tonight. And I'm just now noticing Jacob Strauss's shoes. What do you think, Jeff? The color the rainbow there.
Those are pretty sharp shoes. I like those. And we mentioned the Blue Devils helmets.
Yeah,
the Blue Devils helmets are also pretty sharp. I don't know if those are new, but they really stand out here tonight. Alec Garber on the faceoff. He's got 3 goals, and he just scored that last one for the Blue Devils. He's been doing the dirty work in the crease.
Wearing the dirty Kurtz, right? Kurt Rambis.
The old Kurt Rambis wraparound spectacles.
And I don't think he got that. They didn't start that movement until he went to Phoenix, and they started. The fans were wearing those black glasses, and they were calling them dirty Kurtz because Kurt Rambis would do the dirty work. You know the dirty work is it's inside that paint, doing things, being physical, and getting away with some physicality. And as long as you get caught, you get away with it. It gets really dirty down there.
Was he playing with Hornacek at that point in time? Hornacek was always one of my favorite Phoenix Suns players.
Yeah, I like Jeff Hornacek a lot. He wasn't known for being that kind of player.
No, he was the outside shooter. But Rambis would get the rebounds and then pass them off to Hornacek.
Who's going to be in there diving for the loose ball or fighting for possession with somebody? This is going to be somebody like Dirty Kurt Rambis. Here comes Eastern View. Here's Cody Howard. He was in traffic, managed to get a shot off, but nothing. Oh, there's an elbow there. He got away with one. They're talking about a little physicality there. Alex Davis comes away with it, the goalie for the Blue Devils, and he got it up to first to McEwen, and now McEwen up to Connor Flynn. And they'll slow it down with Elijah Nelson. So 10:35 to play, clock ticking here in the fourth quarter. 10-8 our score in favor of the Blue Devils. Well, this is how the scoring summary by quarters has gone. 3-2 Culpeper after the first. Then Eastern View outscored them 2-1 in the second. We were 4-4 at the intermission. And here are the Blue Devils. Alec Garber took this one. In the third quarter, Culpeper outscored Eastern View by 2 goals. And it's a 2-goal lead, 10-8. First couple minutes here in the fourth quarter.
Well, going back to that last scrum that we had down in front of Culpeper's goal, that was certainly a good physical exertion right there. But the Blue Devils coming out on that one, and all I could think of is when Cody Howard got the ball, it was like a swarm of bees around him with the Blue Devils' yellow pants. It certainly looked like a bumblebee swarm.
And Elijah Nelson, I was going to say, he had slowed it down, and I don't know if he had been instructed to, look, we've got a 2-goal lead. Fourth quarter, take your time. He did take his time, but when he decided he had an opening, he really turned on the juice there, took the shot, and scored to make it 11-8. And really, that's Culpeper's biggest lead since they jumped out to a 3-0 start in the first quarter.
Yeah, Elijah Nelson, as you said, taking that one all of himself, using his speed to get some space and be able to get that shot off past Devin Reed. And the Blue Devils really be able to weather the storm down there on the offensive end by the Cyclones and then be able to come back and quickly get a goal from Elijah Nelson. That was just good work by the Cyclones offense. And as you said, the biggest lead that they've had since the first quarter, since they held a 3-0 lead with 10:22 remaining in the first.
Well, Alec Garber eventually came away with it after he and Jacob Strauss sort of engaged in a merry-go-round there for a while. Going around in circles would leave some people a little dizzy. These guys are just making a living out there doing it.
It's like dogs chasing their tails.
Except with them, it's like when they find it, then what? Well, these guys found the ball. They know exactly what to do with it. Elijah Nelson, a moment ago, giving the Blue Devils a 3-goal lead. We're down to 9:24 to play. And we're going to change possession here with the Blue Devils.
A nice forecheck right there by Nathaniel Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn was able to jar that one loose, but that was all on the forecheck right there. He saw the Eastern View defender trying to go up the field with it, and he was able to get turnover and get possession for the Blue Devils.
Tristan Mullen a moment ago took things into his own hands. He uncorked the shot, but it was wide of the mark. Blue Devils run it down. They go back on offense here. Number 9 is Nathaniel Pettyjohn, junior attackman. Here he is, number 9. You know about Daquan Williams. Here he is, number 2. And they'll flip it to Elijah Nelson. Gets through a couple defenders. He took the shot, and Devin Reed stayed right with it to turn him back.
But there's a penalty flag there, and I think there's going to be a slashing call on Eastern View as Nelson was coming across the middle of the field. See what the referee's call is.
Looks like the officials are going to confer. As they do, we'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Triple Image. Make your clothes speak volumes with custom printing and embroidery from Triple Image at 829-1050. Still waiting for the call here. Do we have anyone in the penalty box? That view is being shielded.
Nobody yet, I don't think.
Okay, now I think we're going to get the call. Blue 1-1/1. That would be number 11, Jordan O'Brien, in the penalty box for a minute for slashing.
And that's exactly what happened as Elijah Nelson was coming across the middle of the field, and he had a wide open look, and O'Brien was able to get his stick in there and was able to make the shot go awry, but he also got called for the penalty on the slash.
And now forcing a turnover, Eastern View defender, and they get it up to Trayvon Holmes, number 4. Holmes looks for help. He finds it. Here's Cody Howard set up. Taking a shot. This one a nice save by Alex Davis. This would have been a situation like deja vu in the first half where Eastern View was down a man and were able to get a shorthanded goal. They were looking for the same thing there.
They were.
The Blue Devils are in a power play.
They were, and that was a huge save by Alex Davis to switch the momentum. But now Blue Devils had a shot and turned it over, and now the Cyclones coming back. And the Blue Devils don't want to be in a track meet. They are most effective when they're able to slow down and get the offense going.
So the basketball equivalent would be you like the half-court offense better.
And the Blue Devils certainly are able to set up their offense more. Here we see them slowing it down, getting it back to Elijah Nelson. That's exactly what Culpeper wants to be able to do, and that's to be able to set up their offense and get their players in the right position.
Tristan Mullen on the move. Oh, he got by a couple defenders. He took a shot, and he found the corner there. Devin Reed watched it go by helplessly, and now it's 12-8. Culpeper's biggest lead of the game, 4 goals with 7:38 to play in this one at Broman Field.
I think that's the hat trick now for Mullen. He's got 3 goals on the night, having a nice offensive night. That one, he did a very nice job of being able to weave through traffic and find an open lane and be able to get off that left-handed shot again. And that has really caused Devin Reed some problems here tonight.
Well, this broadcast is made possible by Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. That's Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. Jacob Strauss now opposite Reese Reynolds here in the face-off position with 7:38 to play in the fourth. 12-goal lead in favor of the Blue Devils is 12-8. Jacob Strauss, Reese Reynolds battle for it. Elijah Nelson hammering away at the opponent's stick there. And they're going to give possession to Eastern View for whatever violation it is, I'm not sure. But suffice it to say, Eastern View will accept. They want to get that offense rolling again, and they do. And I believe that was Cody Howard. It was. Cody Howard answers the call for Eastern View. He beats Alex Davis. It's 12-9, a 3-goal lead for Culpeper. Plenty of time to play. 7:19 to be exact here in the fourth quarter.
And that's the 5th goal for Cody Howard here tonight. And that's who the Cyclones need to be able to get the ball to. And if I'm the Blue Devils, I'm trying to find out ways to maybe double up on Cody Howard and take him out of the equation and make somebody else beat you.
Well, I hear what you're saying. We got plenty of time here. 7:19 to play. 3-goal lead. The biggest lead of the night has been 4 goals. by Culpepper. And here for a familiar face-off is Strauss and Garber doing the familiar dance there, giving chase, and Jacob Strauss comes away with it. Number 14 is Blair Neal. Number 3, Kyle Nicholson. Elijah Nelson stays with him. Connor McEwen on defense here. Down low to Spencer Brown. McEwen defending. There's a move by Cody Howard. He got past the initial defender, then he lost it, but his teammates came over, bailed him out. Howard goes to the turf, no call. Elijah Nelson vying for possession. Now he draws a crowd. Who can come away with it? It's going to be Eastern View's Kyle Nicholson. Alec Garber gives chase. Now Nicholson against Garber. Nicholson lost it. Looked like he had it back. Now they'll fight for it. And Nicholson politely knocks Elijah Nelson to the turf. And what a display of great sportsmanship there by Nelson to come over and say, hey, it's okay, rather than, tempers flaring.
That was a good hit. That was a good, clean hit. I mean, it certainly was not the right play because that was interference, and that's going to give possession back to the Blue Devils. But in terms of, being dirty, no, certainly not at all. It was a good lacrosse play to hit him. He just hit him at the wrong time, and that led to the Blue Devils getting the ball and Cyclones losing it. But, yeah, nice sportsmanship by Elijah Nelson to come over and say, hey, good hit, but thanks for giving us the ball.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Yeah. So Culpeper back in possession with a 3-goal lead. Clock approaching the 5:35 mark here in the fourth quarter. So we've talked quite a bit about Elijah Nelson, haven't we? Here he is taking a shot, and
wow,
Reed finally finds it. Now, he made the stop. He just wasn't really sure where to recover it. But he did make the stop, and he does make the outlet. And here come the Cyclones back the other way.
And freshman Reese Reynolds was down there in the crease, and he didn't make a play on the ball. He could have stuck his stick in there and tried to flip it past Devin Reed, but he didn't even see it either. So that was a fortuitous moment for the Cyclones because that could have ended badly. And there's a penalty.
Yep, the flags are flying now. Let's see how they sort this one out. And you've got Chris Frazier consulting with the official there, trying to get clarification, would you say?
I don't think Frazier was pleased with what the referee had to say. We're going to get the call here, but I thought it was going to be against Culpeper, but the way that Frazier's reacting, I'm not sure.
As we wait for the call, Jeff, I wanted to tell you that as we were setting up tonight, I was lagging behind as you and John were walking to the press box. I had a chance to talk to Elijah Nelson and reintroduce myself to him again. And I've talked to him about 3 times, and it's always enjoyable. And I said, so we're talking about the game last Monday night and that sort of thing. And I talked about, so you're a senior. What are you going to do when you, next year? So he says he's got several different colleges he's considering going to play lacrosse. And he said, he wants to continue it. And he said, He described lacrosse in one really, really cool adjective. He said lacrosse is instinctive.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He's such a bright young man. I've had a couple. Succinctly put, absolutely. I've had many conversations with Elijah, and he just strikes me as being a very polite, intelligent young man. And I think that's a great way to put the game. Lacrosse is instinctive.
It's instinctive.
And he is so smooth with the ball, with his footwork, and I think that's why it works so well, because he just has to rely on his instincts, and most of the time his instincts and his athleticism are able to propel him towards the top.
Okay, now he and his teammates have a 3-goal lead here with clock ticking, 4:35 to play.
And they're on the power play. That's
right.
Kyle Nicholson, that was, as we so rightly guessed, that was against the Cyclones, and Chris Frazier not pleased with that call, but now Kyle Nicholson is in the sin bin, and he's serving a minute.
Yeah, now winding up, taking a shot was Tristan Mullen from his favorite spot. I think that's the hat trick +1 for Mullen. And sort of an insurance goal now for the Blue Devils with a 4-goal lead again, 13-9, which matches their biggest lead of the game.
And again, in the middle of the field, Mullen be able to get off that left-handed shot, and that has caused Devin Reed problems all night long, but that was a power play goal with Kyle Nicholson in the penalty box, and that's the third power play goal for the Blue Devils tonight.
13-9 our score. 4:17 to play. We're back to a face-off. Alec Garber, Jacob Strauss, both doing a great job for their teams tonight. Eli Reeves comes away with it for the Cyclones. Micah Young gets chase. Micah Young will come out to defend against Reeves. Right now, a little undaunted by that defender. And now Blair Neal. He got away from Elijah Nelson. Here comes Garber to meet him. Took the shot. We've got a save out in front of goal as Mason Fife runs it down for the Blue Devils. He looks for help. He looks for Garber. This one intercepted by Eastonview. On the move, taking a shot and scoring was number 1, Cameron Devaney. This is the fellow headed to the University of Kansas in the fall. He makes it a 3-goal game. It's 13-10 with 3:35 to play. I would say don't go anywhere because the way these two teams are playing, 3:35, that's a lot of time left.
Yeah, that defensive turnover by the Blue Devils led to that goal. They were looking for the outlet pass to Garber, and that did not connect, and then the Cyclones were able to get it back and get it over to Devaney. Devaney able to solve the equation, getting that one in the net past Alex Davis, but that turnover was not at a key moment for the Blue Devils.
Blair Neal, after the Cyclones win the faceoff, back in possession for Eastonview. 3:15 to play in the fourth. Here's a shot, and this one was taken by number 6, Spencer Brown, and Davis never even got his stick down in the direction of the path of the ball. That's how quickly Brown was able to punch it in, and just like that, it's a 2-goal game. 13-11 in favor of Culpeper. The Cyclones have come back with 2 quick scoring goals. 3:15 to play.
Well, this makes me think about what Scott Found said in the pregame, that the last game, he said when you score 11 goals, you should win the game, meaning his defense shouldn't have given up so many goals as the Cyclones had 15 in that game. So here we are where the Blue Devils have 13 goals, and they are in the jeopardy of losing again as the Cyclones are battling back. This is going to be on Culpeper's defense to step up.
Elijah Nelson catches Nathaniel Pettyjohn in stride, and Pettyjohn got behind the defenders one-on-one against Devin Reed, and Reed couldn't slow him down and catch up with that one. And just like that, Blue Devils answers back to a 3-goal lead, 14-11 with 3:02 to play.
Or conversely, you just have the offense go to work and you win the foot race.
Well, as Alec Garber and Jacob Strauss face off for the umpteenth time here tonight, the last time they did, it was a 50-50 when the ball squirted loose from both players, but it was Elijah Nelson who came over, took possession, came down the field, and made a really nice pass on the assist there to his teammate, who was able to punch it in.
And there's a penalty flag. I think that's going to be on Garber. Possible hooking penalty there. He had got his stick around.
Just checking your scoring summary, Jeff. White, 1-2. That's holding against Alec Garber.
I'm sorry, you were looking for my scoring there, Mark?
Yeah, their most recent goal by Culpeper.
That was Nathaniel Pettyjohn.
Right, off the pass.
Off the pass by Elijah Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one where Pettyjohn got one-on-one against Devin Reed, and Reed wasn't able to stop him. But now it's a power play opportunity for the Cyclones as we have Garber in the penalty box for Culpeper. Caught with a hold.
Winding up is Cody Howard, and he finds a way once more to beat Alex Davis. It's a 2-goal game with 14-12 Blue Devils with 2:36 to play. Plenty of time remaining in this one.
Man, this is going to be a wild finish. I can just feel it. I mean, it's just been back and forth, and neither team wants to lose this game. Eastern View coming back. Nice play by Cody Howard. Again, if I'm Culpeper's defense, there has to be a way to take him out of the equation. That's his 6th goal tonight.
Ronta Robinson handling the face-off. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is Ronta Robinson for Eastern View. Alec Garber, the mainstay there for the Blue Devils, wins this one. Tristan Mullen has it for the moment. Setting the screen there was number 9, Nathaniel Pettyjohn.
And he's caught for a pick, and that's going to be a turnover for the Blue Devils going back to the Cyclones. I saw that one getting set up, and I thought, oh, that's not going to end well for the Blue Devils.
This is where your Blue Devils need to stop, and if you're the Cyclones, you just continue what you're doing here because they've got ample time. 2:05 to play, down by 2 goals, and we've got number 14, Blair Neal, coming through the defenders. And I believe we're going to have a timeout taken by the Blue Devils to think this one through. With 2:03 to play, Blue Devils call a timeout, 14-12 in favor of Culpeper, with 2 teams getting some instructions from their coaches. We'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by Virginia Community Bank. When you bank with us, you can bank on us. That's Virginia Community Bank, banking for life at 829-6034. Well, I think I know what you and John are going to do after tonight's broadcast. Does the word hockey mean anything to you?
So I just took a peek at my phone, and you probably caught me. It's 1-1 Penguins and Capitals late in the second period. I'm very jealous that I'm missing this. I know I'm not spoiling anyone because by the time that our broadcast is out, the game will be over. But I am about ready to have a heart attack.
Well, you know, it's exciting times for you hockey fans, and, you know, you and John, your teams are opposite each other. So the question is, Caps up 3-2 in the series. Do they close out tonight and win it in 6 games? Or do your pesky Penguins force a Game 7? That's the question.
I don't know. I mean, both teams are playing a little short-handed tonight. Penguins don't have Phil Kessel and Nicholas Backstrom out for the Capitals. So there's, you know, right now it's all about grit because injuries are playing a role. You don't have your best players, and it's really going to come down to who can step up and who has the better role players. I'm going to say the Caps have the better role players. I mean, the Penguins have the stars, but when their stars go down, I just don't know if my Penguins have enough bullets in the chamber. And the Capitals, man, they've just got answers.
All right, here's Cody Howard looking for an answer for Eastern View. McEwen defending. He gets some help out there from Riley Harrison. Cody Howard switches directions. He gets it to Eli Reeves. His shot is wide of the mark. Well, so, you know, in some sports, it used to be sort of a given that if you were playing at home, that was some advantage. And I've seen that dissipate over the years, that some teams don't even play as well at home as they do on the road. So let me ask you, in hockey, playing on your home ice, is that an advantage? As Blair Neal splits the defenders, and he got one-on-one with Alex Davis. He beats him. It's a 1-goal game. It's 14-13 with 1:34 still to play.
And what a goal right there by Blair Neal. Let's go back and take a look at that one.
That's worthy.
Blair Neal getting the pass and be able to come on the left-hand side of Alex Davis and to be able to get off a quick shot to get it past Davis. A little bit of a bounce there at the end. And that one's in the net, and that cuts the lead to 14-13 with 1:34 to go. And the Cyclones, Mark, clawing back into this one. We were just talking about home field advantage, and the Blue Devils have to be hoping that they can use some home field advantage. Pretty decent-sized crowd here tonight, but it seems to be about 50-50 in favor of the 2 teams.
Well, the Blue Devils just substituted with Shane Carter coming back in the lineup to play defense. He's a freshman. Coming to the bench or was Riley Harrison. That could be a key change there. Blue Devils thinking defense here late in the game. Watch out here as this shot taken by Spencer Brown hit the leg of the goalie, Alex Davis. He kicked it away from goal. It's a 1-goal game still with just under a minute to play. Here are the Cyclones.
Oh, the Blue Devils can thank Alex Davis for keeping it a 1-goal game. What a save right there by Davis.
Watch out. Here's a shot. Oh, and it got past him. It was taken by Blair Neal, and Blair Neal ties the game with 49.3 seconds to play. And it looked like Davis sort of had that one in his sights, but it was able to scoot past him, ties it up. Wow, what an exciting game. One of those Alcoa fantastic finishes developing here.
Certainly. Another nice shot by Blair Neal. And you mentioned it looked like Davis had that one squared up, and he looked like he was going to shrug it off, and then he was unable to keep a beat on it, and it went over his shoulder. Tied up with 14-all, 49 seconds remaining. Really, I think whoever wins this face-off has a shot at winning the game.
And who will it be? Looks like it's going to be Eastern View's Ronta Robinson, at least for the moment. No, they're going to. We got a violation here. Gives the ball to the Blue Devils, so now they have an advantage. This is Tristan Mullen. 35 seconds to play here in the quarter. He loses it. This one kicked out. This one picked up by number 15, Stefan Sanchez. Elijah Nelson defending, trying to jar it loose. Garber comes over, makes the hit. He gets the ball to Ronta Robinson. Here's Robinson. He's hit. The ball's loose. Down to 15 seconds and counting. And we got a whistle. We got a timeout. And this one's going to be an exciting finish.
And Chris Frazier looking to set up the offense for the Cyclones, looking for a quick play. I'm going to take a wild guess that it's going to include Cody Howard.
Do you think?
That would be my play.
I think it's probably the safest bet in the house.
I would have Nicholson bring it in, have Howard coming across the field, try to get it to Howard quickly, and get him one-on-one against Alex Davis close to the net.
Well, as I think about it, we'll tell you this broadcast is made possible by CFC Farm and Home Center, outfitting your family from head to toe since 1932. CFC Farm and Home Center at 825-2200. Well, it's been an exciting game, no doubt, and it's been close the whole way. Biggest lead of the night, 4 goals, 2 times, I think, by the Blue Devils, but the Cyclones just continued to chip away at it, and really a very gritty performance here tonight by both teams, and Eastern View just refusing to let this one get away from them. And they've battled back throughout, and now we've got a tied game with 13.6 seconds to play. And, of course, after this timeout, we're going to see the Cyclone strategy unfold and see what Coach Frazier has in mind for his team.
Well, it might be crazy if the Cyclones do score here and then the Blue Devils win the face-off and go down and score. I mean, we could still go to overtime even if there's a goal.
All right, here's Howard on the move. Howard taking a shot. This one was wide. They had the right idea. You knew they were going to go to Howard. He drew the double team with Riley Harrison and Connor McEwen. Now we're down to 5 seconds. Winding up, taking a shot, and here's a big save by Alex Davis. And he heaves it downfield for Tristan Mullen as time expires in regulation. We're tied up 14-all. We're going to overtime.
I was just going to say, Mark, we're going to overtime. And here we go. Going to overtime. It's going to be, I think we're trying to get it figured out. If I remember correctly, it's sudden death. And I think that the quarter is going to be an additional 5-minute quarter. I could be wrong. We're getting the Mark is looking to get the information from the official score, and I think that they're trying to get the same information from the referees. So we're having some communication down on the field. We have the captains out with the referees at the moment for a coin flip to see who's going to get the ball. Looks like Culpepper is going to defend. And the referees are going to give possession to the Blue Devils. You see Tristan Mullen. He's got 5 goals tonight for the Blue Devils. Mark, you have some information for us?
I'm thinking it's going to be sudden victory.
How much time is on the clock?
But it's. I think they're going to put 4 minutes on the clock.
4 minutes. I guessed 5. I thought it was a 5-minute period. But
I would have guessed 5 too. We haven't been here for a while.
No, my God, when was the last time we had an overtime game?
Was it the Fauquier Culpeper game here a couple years ago that was so thrilling?
Yes.
It came down to the overtime. I'd have to check the records, but for some reason Fauquier comes to mind.
I think you're absolutely right. I remember that being a nail biter.
Or was it that time we played the Colgan Sharks in triple overtime? That was an April Fool's joke about a month late because we've never played Colgan. You got your mind somewhere. You're thinking about your blood's pumping. You're thinking about this overtime game. I caught you off guard.
No.
We've never played Colgan.
We've never played Colgan, but we talked about Colgan because Colgan played Osborne Park last year when we played up there, and then we were talking about the new school.
We played against Osborne Park, and Osborne Park's people were saying we lost a lot of players to Colgan.
That's what it was, exactly.
All right, here is the overtime. This is going to be a sudden victory situation. First team that scores wins. And right now, it looked like Eastonview had an advantage winning the face-off. If they can hold on to it. Here they come. Here's a shot. This one was wide, and Davis was set up to defend against this one. Connor McEwen inbounds it for the Blue Devils. This has been an exciting game. Really
my goodness. And Alex Davis has been standing on his head for the Blue Devils. Like another big save, and that's one of the reason they're still in this game. He has kept them in this game.
And Cody Howard there trying to jar the ball loose from the goalie. We got a whistle.
It looks like it's going to be possession for the Blue Devils, maybe over the back there against the Cyclones, but it looks like we're getting some clarification from the referees talking to Chris Frazier. Chris, advocating for his Cyclones, knows that every possession counts here in overtime.
All right, well, they switched directions with the change in the period. So Blue Devils moving from left to right here, and they're going to start it with the ever reliable Elijah Nelson. 3:25, clock ticking here in this overtime period. First team that scores wins. Sudden victory situation. Here's Elijah Nelson. Stumbling, losing his footing, losing the ball, and coming away with it, Daquan Williams. But we've got a whistle, we've got a turnover. Change of possession to Eastonview, coming back the other way. Both teams substituting. Riley Harrison checking into the game for Culpeper.
Mark, we've never seen a double overtime game. Might see one here tonight. Timeout Cyclones.
Well, this broadcast is made possible by Battlefield Automotive, a keystone of service and a cornerstone of our community. Battlefield Automotive at 547-3673. Well, is it safe to say, Jeff, that of the 7 games we've broadcasted together this year, that this is clearly the most exciting?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've seen some good games, but this one, I mean, the last game between Culpeper and Eastonview was close, but man, it wasn't in an overtime, and certainly didn't see a team coming back and tying it late in the fourth quarter as we've seen the Cyclones do here tonight. I just don't know which way this one's going to go because the Cyclones are really putting on some pressure, but we know that Culpeper can score pretty much at will. They have a great offensive team. We've seen it here tonight. Both teams have 14 goals. It's a toss-up right now.
No doubt about it. 3:02 to play after the two teams come back after the timeout. And first team that scores will win this one. Well, I guess it's, you add another element of entertainment to it when you consider that it's the two rival schools playing each other. The second time of the season, they play twice, in the regular season. And so Eastonview won last Monday night. Of course, Culpeper vying for the win tonight, and Eastonview trying to make it 2 for 2. And so when you get in a situation, the crosstown rivals playing, and you're tied up in the regulation, you go to overtime, well, that's probably about as good as it gets.
Absolutely. I think that's very well said. This is as best as you're going to see.
Here's Cody Howard on the move. This one was slung, and it hit a player or two before Spencer Brown tracks it down.
That was a nice block right there by Riley Harrison by the Blue Devils. Knocked it out of play.
And now we've got Kyle Nicholson in possession. Here's Nicholson, centered. And he takes a shot, and he scores! And Nicholson lifts the Cyclones to the big win over the Blue Devils here at Broman Field. And now we've got the mob scene. The Cyclones are celebrating in fine fashion as is naturally predicted. I mean, what a game it's been. And so Nicholson drew up, centered, took the shot, and it had so much smoke on it. Davis just couldn't catch up with it. And the Cyclones will win in a thriller 15-14, and there is Nicholson, helmetless, getting the hug from his coach and the congratulations from his teammates. If you're Nicholson, you got to figure that that's going to be a moment that you will forever remember.
Well, this is the final regular season game for the Cyclones, and as a senior, you couldn't draw it up any better for Kyle Nicholson. This is what you dream about as a kid, throwing the ball around with your buddies in the backyard. The last second overtime goal to beat the crosstown rival. Cal Nicholson is living the dream.
Got to be a really euphoric moment for him and his teammates. And as you pointed out, Nicholson playing his last game, high school career, because
last regular season game.
Right.
We got.
I'm
have
sorry.
playoffs,
You're right.
yeah.
Last regular season game. He's headed to Liberty University in the fall, where he plans to study sports management. But what a terrific game. And really, as we pointed out, the most exciting game we've seen this season. We'll be back in action on Wednesday when Culpeper plays here against Liberty. We'll recognize their seniors that night. That'll end their regular season. This ends Eastern View's regular season. And so with the win, Cyclones finish the regular season at 4-7, and that includes 2-0 against their crosstown rivals. We've said a lot here tonight. The Blue Devils had a couple of 4-goal lead situations, but it seemed like Eastern View just refused to fold and go away.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a different Eastern View team that we saw from earlier in the season. This team has heart and grit, and they were not going to let this one slip away from them. They saw that they were able to rally back. Even down 4 goals late, they were able to come back and tie the game in the fourth quarter. And then Cal Nicholson just putting the finishing touches on this one. And this is a memory that Nicholson, that you mentioned, is going to be taking sports management at Liberty. And this is a story that he'll be able to tell his buddies down there in Lynchburg.
Well, we certainly enjoyed calling this one tonight on behalf of the Culpeper Media Network, where once again our final score at Broman Field after overtime, Eastern View 15, Culpeper County 14. And we'll be back in action on Wednesday when the Blue Devils play host to the Liberty Eagles. Well, for Jeff Say and Johnny Krawchuk, I'm Mark O'Connell saying thanks for watching and supporting Blue Devils and Cyclones Lacrosse on the Culpeper Media Network. We'll see you next time back from Broman Field. So long.